We're going to take a look at an example of an assessment brief, so you will know what to expect when your assessor issues one to you. You should have watched the video which explains the different assessment techniques before this video. Here's an example of an assessment brief. The brief will look the same whether the assessment technique is assignment, skills demonstration, or portfolio. The assessment brief is an important document. You will need to give it back to your assessor when your task is complete, so make sure you keep it safe. Let's have a look at how an assessment brief is laid out. The first line on an assessment brief is a place for you to write your name. Below your name, your assessor will have written the name of your class group, and below that, your assessor's own name. The component or subject area will then appear with a code which is used by Cork ETB to distinguish between different components. The assessment technique tells you whether it's an assignment, skills demonstration, or portfolio. At levels 1 to 3, the waiting box can be left empty. This is used for briefs at levels 4 to 6, where a different amount of marks can be given for each brief. Your brief will have a title which identifies it and two important dates. The first is the issue date. This is the date the brief is given to you by your assessor, and a submission date. This is the date that your assessor wants you to submit your completed work. All our programs have several learning outcomes. These are descriptions of the knowledge and skills that you should achieve on your course. These are numbered for the assessor, and you may see one or several learning outcome numbers on your brief. Your assessor will keep track of the learning outcomes you have achieved, so you don't need to worry about them. The next part, the guidelines section, is the most important part for you. This is where your assessor will have clearly outlined what you must do in order to complete the task. If there is anything under the guidelines section that you do not understand, your assessor will be happy to explain it to you. Always make sure you know exactly what you need to do. The next part of the brief shows what's known as the assessment criteria and a marking scheme at levels 4 to 6. This tells you which skills or knowledge you are being assessed on in this particular brief. Below that is a space for you to write your name, and below that again, a space for you to sign to say that you have been provided with information about Cork ETB's assessment and appeals procedures, and also to confirm that the work you are submitting is your own work, and a space for you to put in the date you are submitting your work. I will discuss the assessment and appeals procedure further in another video. If the instructions in the assessment brief or any part of the assessment process are unclear to you, talk to your assessor who will be happy to help. Remember that if you are struggling with any part of your course, your assessor will be able to direct you to available sources of support. I hope you are excited to get started and are looking forward to the next step in your learning journey.